Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. So, last time we took on Pokemon Platinum as we set out to see if I could beat it with just a single Skorupi. And there were some things that happened there that I did not expect. Today though, I am heading into Generation 6 as we ask the question of if I can beat Pokemon Y with just a single Vivillon. Vivillon, whatever you want to call it, has a better base stat total than you would expect, with a whopping 411 for a regional bug, which is pretty astounding. Mind you, when I say that's the same as Chatot, it sounds quite underwhelming. Our best stats are HP with 80, special attack with 90, and speed at 89, with everything else being at least 50. Our type though is that unsettling combination of bug and flying type, which means we are quad weak to rock, plus regular weak to flying, fire, electric and ice. We are immune to ground, we resist fighting, bug and grass. So, via level up we get some decent moves, with Psybeam, Draining Kiss and Bug Buzz being amongst the best we can learn damage wise. Quiver Dance will be nice. I might get some utility out of Hurricane too, particularly if I want to combine it with the Rain Dance TM. Powder could be useful for the major trainers who use fire types. Well, I know there's not many of them really. Via TM, we don't actually get a whole lot that's useful. Sure, there is Psychic and Energy Ball as well as Hidden Power, but those aren't actually until right at the end of the game, so not really much help there. I did mention Rain Dance previously, which could be useful for comboing with Hurricane and making us a bit less flowerable. Predictions: the Rock Gym is likely to be horrific, I'm pretty sure of that. We're quad weak to Rock and we don't get a great way of hurting the Rock type. Also, we don't get much to hurt Steel types, so the Electric Gym could be rough too with Clement's Magneton. I actually don't think the Ice Gym will be pleasant either. I've done this game with a flying type before and I got slaughtered repeatedly by Wulfric. Also, Wickstrom and Malva may cause issues at the Elite Four. Diantha the Champion though could go either way. The rules are on the screen throughout. As always, if you do enjoy what you see, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that bell. Thanks for watching folks, enjoy the show. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chespin with Spooper or Spuper, whatever you want to call it, so that I can do the whole run with the bug. I chose to replace Chespin so that our main rival will pick Fennekin, which will likely be the hardest for us to fight. And also, Shauna gets Froakie, which will be harder for us to fight than Chespin. In theory anyway, since we can Bug Zap her Greninja near the end. Long road ahead though till then. I nicknamed the Spuper Pat, short for Pattern, since there's a lot of different Vivillon variants. I didn't think of anything better, but that's just the way that it rolls. I will be evolving our Spuper into the Vivillon that we'll be using eventually. It just felt a bit more natural to evolve it up, I guess. I could have spawned a Butterfly straight in, but oh well, this is what we did. We have the Compound Eyes ability, so better accuracy. It was either that or Shield Dust, and I think we ended up worse off. We do have the Hardy nature though, so neutral stat gains all around. For the first time in a Kalos challenge, we fight Shauna and we don't come out on top, but given Spuper is so much weaker than Froakie, it is perhaps not a surprise. I say the first time in a Kalos challenge, we've done like 4. It's a bit of a kick to my ego, but I will survive it. The bubble attacks from Froakie just do too much damage for us to weather, taking out about a third of our health with each hit. If it had gone for pound throughout, we would probably have been fine, but alas, it didn't. We do drop it below half health, but it's just no good, as we get beat by a blue frog. I go and hit Super Training next to set our EVs, and this is definitely one of the perks of Generation 6. Meaning we can max them out without having to battle a lot of times. I mean, I definitely want to get Vivillon before the first gym, and we will evolve into Scatterbug at level 9, and then our final form at 12. So this is all planned out. You might notice that my rules do say no Pokemon and me, but super training, that's fine as far as I'm concerned, because it's not actually well, I suppose it is making us stronger, but it's making us stronger in a way that saves you having to waste a lot of time grinding up on the same Pokemon, so I'm happy to do that. I focus on special attack and speed. It won't do us much good as a Spuper, but when we are a majestic floaty butterfly, I think we will be pretty sorted then. All we have to do is murder a few birds and some bugs and we'll be golden. Please note, I think it will be regular pink Vivillon, not a gold one. It's not too long before we do manage to reach our evolution level with Scatterbug and we get the evolution seed. Now, it's not often that we get to see this in a challenge, but it is nice for sure as we get the evolution into Spuper. Before long, we will be ready to break out of the cocoon and into a majestic butterfly. And on that note, here it is. Our evolution into Vivillon. We get it in the Viridian Forest. Sorry, whatever this forest is actually called. And as I said a moment ago, I thought it would be the pink Vivillon. But it turns out to be a black and white one, which according to Bulbapedia is, I think, the icy snow pattern. Weird, right? This is the version from the far north of Norway, Russia, most of Finland, and Canada's northwest and Yukon territories. I do not know why the ROM created that version, but it looks pretty cool, I guess. Anyway, it's not long before we get into the fight with Viola in the first gym, though I did level up a bit because I wanted Psybeam for the battle, which we learn at level 17, since our other moves aren't going to be the most helpful. Tackle and Struggle Bug aren't going to hurt her own Vivillon, and I don't know if it has a flying type move or not. This was one of the benefits I considered to spawning Vivillon straight in, because Vivillon learns Gust naturally at level 1, so that would be a very short fight. But if her Vivillon knows a flying move, that would also be a short fight. But with Psybeam, this is a very short fight anyway, as we crit Surskit with that move. And on the subject of Surskit, watch this space in the next few weeks and drops it. Easy enough. Her Vivillon is a little tougher. It takes 2 Psybeams to take it down, and we only get clipped by a tackle in exchange, which we can shrug off. That's a good win and 1 badge down for the count. The next sort of semi-major battle would be the one with Sycamore in the Pokemon Lab, so I'll cover it, but I'm not sure if I will in future ones, since he uses the 3 Kanto starters in their basic form, and we are already pretty powerful, so it's not like this is going to be a massive challenge. I am getting ahead with the levels now because the next massive brick wall will likely be the rock gym ahead, and that is not going to be fun since, once again, we are quad weak to rock, I'll say it again. But yeah, we shoot down Bulbasaur with Struggle Bug to break that as an opponent and end it as a challenge. Before, the next opponent is the Charmander, because why not? Psybeam rips out and trashes it completely, and that fire has been put out completely. Squirtle is last, and I'm actually surprised that it survives Psybeam, but it doesn't hurt us with Tackle when it lands the blow, and we can finish it off pretty quickly. Hey, you know something about changing the starters in this game for challengers? It randomises the Kanto starters too. So, instead of the Holy Triumvirate of Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle, we have Poliwag, Cyndaquil and Oshawott, 2/3 of the Legends Arceus starters. Although, I will say, it might not be a Rowlet, but Poliwag is about the same shape as Rowlet, bar the tail maybe? I thought it was a double battle next with the rivals, but it is actually not. Instead, we have to fight Tierno outside of Lumio City. And I'd really like to say that this is an imposing fight, but no, it's really not, as he uses a Corphish against us, and it was nice that this game did try to make Corphish relevant for the first time since the Gen 3 anime, but I don't think it really succeeded. We take it down with a Struggle Bug for a 1-hit win, and we can move quickly on. I do like this game, you know, but there are a few bits of it that I find just absolutely tiresome, if I'm honest. And one of them is the bit where you have to chase the Furfrou around the maze with Shauna. That bit always annoys me. Weird, I know, but here we are. I'm also not keen on the Team Flare hideout with the arrow panels, or the ice cavern bit between the 6th and 7th gyms, but that's not for a while now. Accelerating through the gears, we have a double battle with the rivals next, as we team up with Serena to battle Trevor and Tierno. It's not a hard fight, or it shouldn't be anyway, but it can be a little irritating. I mean, there's not really many major battles once this is out of the way, because this game has a really strange pace. They begin with Corfish and Pikachu, and Serena's Fletchling lands a quick attack on Corfish before we wreck them both with a struggle bug that hits both targets and sends them crashing down for a swift knockout. Up next though, we have Trevor's Flabébé, and another quick attack from Fletchling smacks it before our Psybeam throws it backwards through the air and drops it. We're good until the Rock Gym now, so how about some Vivillon trivia? Or shouldn't that be Vivia? As I mentioned earlier, Vivia would have been a really good nickname for Vivillon. Oh well, as I mentioned earlier, the wing patterns depend on real world geographic locations set on the game the Pokemon was generated in. This is Pokédex number 666. Unlucky for some, I guess. In Scarlet and Violet, it will always evolve into fancy pattern Vivillon, unless the pattern has been changed by receiving a postcard from Pokemon Go. Oh, look at Scarlet and Violet trying to make Pokemon Go relevant. There are 20 known patterns, one of which is event exclusive only. This evolution line was the only bug-type Pokemon introduced in Gen 6. This evolution line is the only Gen 6 Pokemon in the Bug Egg group. It is the only Pokemon to have an effort value yield of 1 HP, 1 special attack and 1 speed. As of Gen 9, it has the most Pokédex entries of a single Pokemon, with 20 per game, 1 for each form. It may be based on, and excuse my pronunciation, Papilio Dardanus, which is known for having over 14 known morphs, each of which mimics a different, distasteful species of butterfly. If you want to know more, see Wikipedia. The patterns on its wings may be based on pixel art. In Pokemon Home, it is listed under the most Pokédex colour groupings with a total of 9. There exists a Vivillon form currently for every Pokédex colour group apart from Black. It is the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Powder via level up. Time for the Rock Gym then, and I'm leery about this, and I think I should be, given how weak we can potentially be to rock attacks. Plus, Grant's first Pokemon, Amora, has Thunder Wave. I can mitigate that with a Cherry Berry, but I'm definitely worried about the Tyrunt, since it has Rock Tomb and Headbutt, and I could see us getting stun-locked, worryingly enough. Is it Headbutt or Stomp? I don't remember which one. Mind you, if he has any sense about it, he won't try and stun-lock us, he'll just murder us with rocks. It turns out that I don't have to worry about paralysis, as Amora tries to murder us with Rock Tomb instead, which, as I just said, is a pretty reasonable strategy, I guess. It works on the first try too, as we fail to do less than half with Psybeam, and Rock Tomb wipes out about 3/4 of our health. I do try to finish it with Draining Kiss, but there's no joy as we don't knock it out, nor do we get enough health back to survive a second Rock Tomb, and we are duly defeated. I want to try something and go for a second attempt immediately after, because I have 12% of a plan. Psybeam wasn't powerful enough, but what about a stab move? And when I go into the fight again, I go for Struggle Bug versus Amora. Now, I didn't think the day would come when I pinned my hopes on Struggle Bug, but it does do more than half, so that's something to be cheerful about. And when Amora misses Rock Tomb, we are laughing hard as we take it down. Ha ha! I was worried about Tyrunt, and then I recalled we had a super effective move in Draining Kiss, and so I go for that move on the coolest fossil Pokemon of all time, and we absolutely wreck it with a one-hit knockout. I do want to do this game with the 2 fossils at some point. The 2 basic fossils I'll amend. 2 badges down. Moving on, we've got a journey through Reflecting Cave, and before we can face the 3rd gym, the Fighting Gym, we've got to battle with Serena in the Tower of Mastery. This probably kickstarts the point where the middle third of the game is battle heavy, so let's do this. Her first Pokemon is Meowstic, and we get clattered with Fake Out, which, not ideal, but it is what it is. We strike it with Bug Buzz on the next turn to take it down hard, and that's one down. Her next Pokemon is Absol, and another Bug Buzz wrecks it to give us a second win, the Disaster Herald going down hard. Last is Braixen, and I realise I don't really have a great option here, since it will resist both Draining Kiss and Bug Buzz. With that in mind, we trade Psybeams. Ours crits though to put it on the brink of defeat, and we can shrug her move off. We then finish it with Aerial Ace, which probably won't be something I keep long term, but I'm regarding it as a handy option at the moment. The Fighting Gym then, and this really shouldn't be an issue. I'll be amazed if it is. There's probably a small chance for a rock move, but given we have Psybeam and Draining Kiss, I'm pretty confident. I suppose if Karina used her Lucario here, things might get interesting, but meh, she doesn't. Let's do this. Mienfoo is first and it does hit us with Fake Out, but that is not really an issue, and it just makes us more determined as we blast it with Psybeam on the next turn. That's a one-hit knockout. Machoke is her second Pokemon, and I figure that if it isn't broke, we don't try and fix it, and with another Psybeam, we blast it down for victory. Last is Hawlucha, and for the third time, I call for a Psybeam, and the blast rips through its health to take it down hard and give us the third badge. We have another Serena fight as the next major one. There is the Mega Evolution Lucario fight in the Tower of Mastery, but for the purposes of this challenge I like to pretend that doesn't exist, since I can't physically avoid doing it. The Serena fight is pretty straightforward as we begin the battle with her, and she goes for the Meowstic once again. We blast it down with Bug Buzz. We don't have to worry about Fake Out this time, which, pretty nice, it doesn't survive the attack. Absol is next. We go for the Bug Buzz once again, and when we level up, we finally get Quiver Dance. It is possible that some variation of this moveset might be my final one. It does depend on what our hidden power type is. I might go Psychic over Psybeam as well. Braixen survives Bug Buzz and blasts us with Psybeam for minimal damage, but we take it down with a Psybeam of our own to give us the win, and we can move on into the Grass Gym. This gym and the fight with Ramos is another one that should be very straightforward. 2 gyms in a row where we quad resist the stab. That works out pretty good for me. We do the Tarzan thing and swing around the vines in the gym, which is a welcome change of pace for a Pokemon gym, and I don't think it's been done again that I can recall. Ramos is easy. We go for a Quiver Dance versus Jumpluff and have the only concerning moment of the fight when it goes for Acrobatics. We do shrug it off relatively easily and then blast it with a Bug Buzz to take it down. His next Pokemon is Go-Goat, and that's had a bit of a return to the spotlight recently thanks to Scarlet and Violet, but it does nothing here as we Bug Buzz it down out of existence. Last is Weeping Bell, and our Psybeam takes it down hard to give us the win and the 4th badge. We have to do the desert and the power plant next before we can head back to Lumiose City to battle for the 5th badge. So I'll take the chance to get some more levels ahead of a gym that is probably going to give us quite a bit more trouble than the last 2 did, since we're going to have to deal with electric types, one of whom also has the steel type. While I am exploring, let's talk about what is ongoing with the channel. I'm only really discussing what's happened at the time of writing, but I just uploaded 6 episodes of my playthrough of Jedi Survivor, and I am loving that at the moment, even if, like a broken record, I do keep mentioning it quite a bit. The next Pokemon challenge I have planned is a return to Generation 3, and it's going to be a Pokemon Fire Red one, as I see if I can beat that game with just a single Spinnerack. I am not going to lie, I'm expecting that to be absolutely horrific. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Always enjoy reading these ideas, so hit me! Also, there is a link to the Patreon down there, folks, if you're interested. If not, help the channel grow in other ways, tell a friend who might like Pokemon challenges, or sullenly awkward, self-conscious Let's Plays. Back to the action. Electric Gym then. Clement could be worrying, but having checked his team and moves on Bulbapedia, the only paralysis worry we have is if we are dumb enough to touch Emolga. And we don't have any moves that make physical contact, so we should be okay. Somehow, it appears Draining Kiss does not make physical contact, but I don't understand how that works. It's a special move, so I don't know. I go for a Quiver Dance versus Emolga, and we get hit with Volt Switch, but we can shrug that off, so not an issue. When Magneton comes out, we blast it with a Bug Buzz, which takes it all the way to the brink of fainting, but it survives thanks to Sturdy and goes for Electric Terrain. We then down it over the next 2 turns with Draining Kiss to get some health back and break the Sturdy, and a Bug Buzz to finish it off. Heliolisk goes down to Bug Buzz. Helioptile is one of those that I have considered doing a solo run on this game with. Before, the last opponent is the Emolga once again, and we Psybeam it down for the 5th badge. On the subject of Emolga, again, not going to lie, I have considered wanting to do a Gen 5 game with the Flying Squirrel. There is a Serena fight next as we leave the city, the 3rd in as many gyms, and again it brings to mind the weird plot spacing of this game. Pretty much nothing in terms of rival fights before the first 3 gyms, and then the game does pretty much beat you to death with it over the middle 3rd. Weird. It puts Gen 5 and its unlimited rival fights into perspective, that's for sure. The hardest rival encounter is yet to come because the Bridge Gauntlet, where you fight Shauna, Tierno and Trevor one after another, is always particularly brutal. We get hit by Meowstic's Fake Out and then Quiver Dance on the next turn. Serena's Psychic type goes for a Light Screen, and I don't really fancy dealing reduced damage over the course of the fight, especially when one considers what her next Pokemon is likely to be, so I make the conscious decision to whittle down the clock. It's only going to last for 4 more turns, so all I'm going to do is keep on Quiver Dancing until the Light Screen goes down, just so that we are a little safer during her Delphox. It's a slow process. We get hit by a Psychic and a flurry of disarming voice attacks, but thanks to the leftovers, we heal most of the wounds as soon as they appear, before finally the Light Screen goes down and we drop her Meowstic with a Bug Buzz to end it quite decisively. Next up is the Delphox, and gaining the Psychic type did not do it any favours, as here we can Bug Buzz it down with Terminal Intensity. You're no longer resistant to bug moves, Delphox. Last is Absol, and just to change things up, we drop it with a Draining Kiss for victory. All that set up for that sweep. Still, we have to do what we have to do. The Fairy Gym is next, and this may be interesting. We are operating at a disadvantage, but hopefully our level lead can carry us through. We've got a part Steel type Mawile to deal with, a soundproofed Mr. Mime, so Bug Buzz isn't going to work. Plus, there is the usual line of fun that is to be had with Sylveon, who I am pretty sure has decent special defence. I think anyway, I don't know where I'm pulling that from. We'll be fine, let's do this. Right at the start, Mawile spams Iron Defence, so we take that chance while it buffs its defence to go for 3 Quiver Dance attacks. We're not going to be attacking it physically, but I'm not going to be the one that tells her that, so she's more than welcome to do what she wants with Iron Defence. Good luck with it, Valerie, all power to you. We do get hits with a Crunch eventually, but it doesn't do too much damage, so though it does drop our defence, which could be worrying, but I suppose Mr. Mime and Sylveon aren't really physical attackers anyway. We do eventually drop Mawile with Psybeam. Mr. Mime is next, and we hit a Draining Kiss, which it survives on red health and then blasts us with Psychic. We shrug it off, though we do lose a stage of our special defence thanks to that attack. When she heals, I go for another quiver dance, and this time our draining kiss ends it. Next up is Sylveon, and we hit a +4 Bug Buzz, and even with our boosts it survives the move and hits Dazzling Gleam. I guess it does have good special defense. We shrug it off before she heals once again. Bit annoying, but we should be used to it by now, and we take it out with Draining Kiss and another Bug Buzz. 6 badges down. There is some moderately irrelevant sidetracking next before we reach the next gym. I mean it, there's like an ice cave or something, but it pretty much brings nothing to the plot. Just filler really. Also, I discover before the next rival fight that our hidden power type is Dragon. Now excuse me if I don't sound enthusiastic about that. Anyway, Serena. She begins with Meowstic, and once again we get fake outed, but Meh doesn't do much damage. It is just more annoying than anything else because it delays our process of starting to murder. We get 2 Quiver Dancers happening versus Meowstic as we get hit with Psychic and Shadow Ball, but we do shrug them off, the latter dropping our special defences stage, which not ideal but will live. We then go on a sweep as we drop Meowstic with Bug Buzz for a swift knockout. The next opponent is Delphox, and again we blast that with Sheer Sound to drop it with another Bug Buzz. That's Firefox down for the count, and the next opponent is Jolteon. We do get struck with a quick attack, but yeah, seriously, it does about what you'd expect, and we take it down with Bug Buzz for another knockout. Last is Absol, and I change it up, taking it down with Draining Kiss for a win. That was simple enough. Time to go tackle the Psychic Gym. Olympia is up. Fun fact about Olympia, she's the only gym leader in X and Y whose team all have 4 moves on them, believe it or not. I can't decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Ah well, we've got to beat her anyway. This might be the last easy fight for a while. Versus Sigilif, we go for a Quiver Dance while it goes for Light Screen, and that's not particularly good since all our attacks are special, but I think we might be able to overpower it, and I go for 2 more Quiver Dancers just to be sure. And in the meantime, we get hit with 2 Air Slash attacks, which do decent damage, but we are more than capable of shrugging them off thanks to our increasing special defense stat, and also as well the health recovery from the leftovers. Then we go on the offensive, and we blast Sigilif with a Bug Buzz to drop it hard, and her next Pokemon is Slowking. Now, I'm not as familiar with Slowking as with Slowbro, but I do wonder if we will take it down with Bug Buzz. We go for the move and we do wreck it hard before, just like Serena, she unleashes a Meowstic, this one last, and once again we strike Bug Buzz to end it and the battle, giving us the 7th badge. We have got a flurry of hard fights now, as there is 3 against Lysandra, there's the Rival Gauntlet, there's the Ice Gym, plus Malva and Wickstrom at the Elite Four. We might be okay for the rest of the major fights, but these probably are going to be an issue. Now you know why I've been levelling. We have to do the first Lysander fight first, and this one shouldn't be too bad, but they will get harder as the series continues. Anyway, he begins with Mienfoo, and this might seem promising as an opponent to power up on, until one recalls that it has acrobatics, and as we go for Quiver Dance, we get smacked by said acrobatics. That's not good, as it does pretty decent damage. I think we will survive another one though, and I go for another Quiver Dance. This time, Mienfoo does a dance of its own involving swords, and I decide enough is enough as we drop it with Draining Kiss to heal up. Next is Pyro, and a Psybeam brings down the Lion to put us 2 up. That is about the best move we have for dealing with that opponent. We cannot upgrade to Psychic for a bit just yet. Murkrow goes down to Draining Kiss before Gyarados is last, and I will be happy when this thing goes Mega in the last fight, because we will have an effective way of beating it when it's no longer a flying type. As it is, we down it with 2 Psybeams that get hit with Aqua Tail in exchange. Round 2, seconds out, ding ding ding. It's another Lysander fight, not too long after the last one. This time after he forms the ultimate weapon, the one that looks like a crystal flower. There's a whole means of getting there. After all, one doesn't just simply walk into Geosenge Town when Team Flare are trying to launch an extinction level event from that very place. So I have to go and catch a Pidgey to fly in. Then there is his whole rant. Do you think there was anyone playing X and Y for the first time who didn't see Lysander and think that he was immediately going to be the villain? When a character looks that distinct, you know they're probably going to be important to the plot. Answer in the comments, did you think Lysander looked suspicious from the start? Anyway, he begins with Mienshao and we go for a Quiver Dance. Acrobatics does slightly over half our health in damage, but we heal up past the halfway mark thanks to leftovers, and I decide to gamble and go for another Quiver Dance, just to be sure. Anyway, we survive the next Acrobatics on 10 HP, and we down Mienshao with Draining Kiss to recover health. Next is Pyro, and we down it with Psybeam for a second win, before the third opponent is Honchkrow this time. He's evolved half his team. Well, he did that relatively quickly. He's clearly been taking lessons from Cyrus. Another Draining Kiss hits Honchkrow and we suck out all its health and restore our own in the process to take it down before Gyarados is last. A Psybeam and a Draining Kiss take it out, but once again we get struck with an Aqua Tail, but we win. Round 3, fight! The third fight is the most annoying, as just like when we have to do the end fight in Gen 5, this game rather discourteously doesn't take into account the fact that we're just trying to use one Pokemon, and insists that we use the recently caught Yveltal in the fight. Now, it means we do lose the first attempt, and there is quite a good reason for it. We have to let Lysander's Mienshao punch out our Dark Bird over the course of the first bit of the fight, and it eventually does do just that, as we hurl Pokeballs at the Mienshao to waste its turns, but while it's going for high jump kick and acrobatics, that's fine. When it does go for a Swords Dance, I already have a feeling I know how this effort is going to end, as when Yveltal finally goes crashing down, I bring Pat in, and as we Quiver Dance, we immediately get one shot by acrobatics, which, not ideal, but not unexpected either. Let us try this again now that the game isn't trying to force us to do something that is antithetical to the way we're trying to win this run on our own terms. It sounds like I'm blaming the game for that last loss, and you're absolutely right, I am. Let's try it again in the confines of how we're playing it. We go for a Quiver Dance versus Mienshao, as we have done throughout, and we take an acrobatics. Again, very slightly over half our health. We jump well up over the halfway mark thanks to our leftovers healing us, and I figure I will chance another Quiver Dance. Mienshao hits us with a second acrobatics, and we survive on 5 HP. The words "wow" spring to mind as we drop it with Draining Kiss and recover a good chunk of health. Next is Pyro, and as we've done throughout, we strike it down with Psybeam to put us 2 up in the fight and recover more health. Honchkrow is third, and we strike it down with Draining Kiss, just as we have done throughout, before the Mega Gyarados is last, and this time is simpler. We don't take a hit as it no longer has the flying type. Once Mega Evolving, it no longer resists the bug type thanks to it being dark type, and we duly blast it with a super effective Bug Buzz to give us the win. The world is saved then, just like that. Once we enter Koroway Town, there is a duel with Professor Sycamore, as he comes at us with the 3 fully evolved Kanto starters. It feels like this might have been interesting if he'd mega evolved one of them, but they had a real bugbear about opponents using that tactic in this game, since there are only a few instances of opponents using that tactic against you. I.e. the rival has it in the post game, I believe, Lysander has it and the champion. The Elite 4 members should all have had it for sure. Mind you, let's not talk about the flaws of Pokemon X and Y. We will be here all day. We Quiver Dance twice versus Venusaur, we get raked with Petal Dance twice, but once we are powered up, we wreck it with Bug Buzz. Charizard gets shot down with a Psybeam since our other moves aren't going to be much good before it's the turn of Blastoise, and we Bug Buzz that down to give us a win and we can move on. The next major fight series is the Gauntlet versus Shauna, Tierno and Trevor. 2/3 of this isn't bad, but Trevor can be really hard right at the end, so we need to be careful as we go towards this fight. He has a Raichu who likes to use Nuzzle to paralyse, plus an Aerodactyl, and considering how weak we can be versus the Rock type, that's the point to worry. Shauna is first. That battle in Aquacord Town at the start of the game, when Spuper got was it Spuper or Scatterbug? I don't remember. Whatever it was, got defeated by Froakie, feels a long time ago, as she sends out Delcatty, and we go for a few Quiver Dancers as might be expected. I know she has Gudra, who is a bit of a special defensive unit, and I don't really want to take too many chances at that because being knocked around by a pseudo legendary can end very badly. We get hit with Charm and a few play roughs from Delcatty, but they don't do much damage. You might notice I'm not healing with the leftovers during this fight, just saying. We eventually drop Delcatty with Bug Buzz to take it down. Gudra is second, and that is also wiped out with a Bug Buzz, and because we do not have the chance to heal between fights, I take Greninja at the last down with a Draining Kiss to restore our health ahead of the battle with Tierno. Tierno has 3 Pokemon, I know that from past experience, just as, unfortunately, I know he starts with the most dangerous of the 3 straight away in Talonflame. It will quad resist our Bug Buzz, it will resist our Draining Kiss, and it is more than likely capable of hurting us quite badly. I know Talonflame isn't an exceptional physical attacker, but super effective moves will still hurt. We go for 1 Quiver Dance and then crit our Psybeam to end it, which I will say is an absolutely massive relief. Crawdont is next, and we can drop that with our choice of super effective move without really being too concerned about the whole thing, before the last opponent is Roserade, and that really doesn't worry me as we blast it with Bug Buzz to drop it hard, and just like that we've gone through him without really breaking a sweat. Tierno is never really an issue unless you get burned by his Talonflame, which, fair enough, isn't an entirely unrealistic outcome. We do get healed before the fight with Trevor. Remember what I said earlier about how he likes to use Nuzzle to paralyse right at the start of the fight, and how it is a massive pain. Why do I go for a Quiver Dance straight off the bat if that's the case? Wouldn't I be better off attacking? We power up, then, as we predicted, get hit with Nuzzle, and we immediately eat our Cherry Berry to heal it, and assault Raichu's eardrums with a Bug Buzz to take it down. Yeah, that was my plan all along. Anyway, Aerodactyl is next, and this thing could be rough, but we drop it with a crit Psybeam to execute it hard before Florges is last. This thing is tough, but for a different reason. We do less than half with Psybeam, so I start to Quiver Dance once again, given I don't think it will be able to hurt us that much. Unfortunately, it does start undoing our work with Confide and the secondary effect of Moonblast, but we managed to power up just enough to bring the fairy type down and give us a win. Phew! Always touch and go, that series of fights, because a loss at any point means starting over, which, quite annoying. Come on then, it's the ice gym time. I don't know how this'll go. Cryogonal might cause some issues. Yes, I just said those words, believe it or not. It has really good special stats, and I'm not sure how much we will be able to power up without getting messed up by ice attacks. I cannot get the Psychic TM until after this gym, so we're still stuck with Psybeam for now. I might not be using it if I'm honest though. Bug Buzz and hope for the best. This goes well. We go for a Quiver Dance versus a Bomber Snow, but the hail is up, so we will be getting hit with chip damage throughout. Plus, we do get blasted by an Ice Beam that we do weather quite well. Still, things can get out of hand quite quickly, so I go for Bug Buzz to take it down. Next is Cryogonal, and we go for another Bug Buzz, and I'm pleasantly surprised when we down it in one hit. Now that is most fortunate. And the last opponent is Avalugg, who I'm pretty sure is quite weak, special defensively, and we tear through it with a crit Bug Buzz to drop it and take the final gym badge. And so we are nearly done. 6 major fights left. Fighting through Victory Road, there is a battle with Serena, and this might be the easy part with what's left. Final rival fights usually are tricky, but I guess I'm not too worried here. Now, is that confidence misplaced? Let us see. Because it's worked so well for me so far, I utilise the same strategy once more and go for a trio of Quiver Dancers versus Meowstic. We get clipped with Fake Out right at the start, but the wound gets healed immediately before, while we're powering up, it tries to wreck us with Psychic Power. But that starts to hurt less and less as our special defence grows. And when we're finally ready to go on the attack, it is decisive as we Bug Buzz Meowstic down and Serena goes for her Delphox, which is a fine choice in theory, but it has not done too well versus Bug Buzz so far, and it doesn't again as we down it hard. Next is Jolteon, and once again we use Bug Buzz to wreck it, and when it goes down we move into the fight versus Altaria. We are not going to get a lot of joy with Bug Buzz here, and so I switch to Draining Kiss and we wipe it out hard to bring out her final opponent in Absol. I thought she Mega Evolved it here for a moment, but I then remembered it's not until the post game. Either way, she's done, her goose is cooked, and we can move right on. Eventually, we get to the Pokemon League, and as we stand outside, here are our stats at level 86. Now, you might notice the special attack is pretty good, and the speed is as well. It's almost like I heavily invested in it at the start of the game, but everything else is questionable, I suppose. Our defences aren't fantastic in the slightest, and we are probably going to get messed up. I'm worried about Malva, the Fire-type specialist, for what she will do to us, and I'm worried about what we might not be able to do to Wickstrom, the Steel-type specialist, because we don't have any effective moves we can learn. Everything we have is going to be pretty much resisted. I was kind of banking on Hidden Power being either Fire or Ground type. Seabold and Drasna probably won't be that bad, but those first two are going to make us suffer. I actually don't think Diantha is going to be that bad in the slightest when we get there, because of the moves we have and her team composition. We should be fine there. Take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not right now, folks. As we enter the Pokemon League, and this is a beautiful setting. So much so that you may recall they included it as a battle stage in Smash Bros. I decided to bite the bullet and try Malva first just to see how we match up. As a Fire-type trainer, she is capable of hitting us with super effective damage and should be the hardest to fight in theory. In practice, I still think Wickstrom is going to be the hardest though. Sorry not sorry. We can mitigate the damage done to us through Leftovers and Draining Kiss somewhat, but we are going to struggle to damage the Steel type. Still, we do pretty well against Malva. First is Pyro, and we Quiver Dance, but that just opens us up to being hit by a flamethrower, which does well over half our health in damage. Eep! I can't take another chance on powering up, and we strike it with Psychic to end it very quickly. That's one down. Maybe this won't be so bad. Torkoal is next, and while it is a defensive Pokemon, it is more physically bulky than special, and we take it down with a Psychic. This is going really well so far. Surely it can't keep happening. Talonflame also goes down to Psychic, but her last Pokemon is Chandelure, and surely we're not going to take that down with Psychic. Oh, we did. Never mind. I wasn't expecting that to play out like that. One down. Let's move on. I'll go Seabold next. I do have the Energy Ball TM, and I'm debating whether to use it or not, but I don't think I will. I don't really want to mess around with my moves now, if I'm honest. I'm happy with what I've got. Let's go enter his Wind Waker final boss chamber then. Nah, I still want to play Wind Waker on the channel. I need to finish that Ocarina of Time playthrough first though. Not done any for a couple of weeks though. Jedi Survivor again, blame that. Anyway, Water Trainer, Seabold. Is it Seabold or Seabold you reckon? I don't know. His first Pokemon is Clawitzer, and for some reason I think this is part fighting type. It's not, but I make that mistake later in the fight. I start to power up with Quiver Dancers while it hammers into us with Water Pulse attacks, which isn't particularly good since on the second one we get confused, and I am a little leery now because I really don't want to go into his Barbaracle, which undoubtedly has a rock move with a chance of our move failing. I go for a third Quiver Dance, and then I try to take it out with what I think is a super effective Draining Kiss to restore our health from the Water Pulses, and alas, hitting ourselves in confusion. We do land the move at the second attempt, but it survives. When he drops a full restore, I go for a fourth Quiver Dance, and with the confusion out of the way, we can drop Clawitzer with a second Draining Kiss. Barbaracle is next, and thanks to no confusion, it is very easy to take it out with Bug Buzz for the win. Third is Gyarados, and I am expecting some resistance, but nope, we drop it with a single Psychic for another knockout, before it is a simple matter to take Starmie out with a Bug Buzz, and just like that, we've beaten the second member of the Elite Four. I will go Drasna next. Last time I did Pokemon Y, that being with Skidoo, I remember her being an absolute nightmare because we just couldn't power up fast enough to do damage. I wonder if we'll have any problems here. I think we'll probably be okay, but let's find out. I actually think, and I don't know how right I am here, she just fought Ash Ketchum in the anime about the same time I did that challenge. Maybe, don't know exactly why I think that. You know what they say about smoke and fire? Maybe that's the reason why, because it actually happened. I don't know. Anyway, we go for a Quiver Dance versus Dragalge. Dragalge? I don't know. And we duly get hit with a Thunderbolt, which, not ideal, but we shrug it off and quite crucially don't get paralysed. That's the main thing. I don't want to take chances though and drop it with Psychic. Dragalge has really good special defence, so pleased about that. Next is Noivern, and we drop it with a Draining Kiss before it has the chance to do anything, and I'm just glad we outsped so we didn't get stun locked by Air Slash. Third is Altaria, and I get lucky here as it survives Draining Kiss, but it misses Sing. That could have been fatal. She heals it, we go for another Quiver Dance, and then, confident in the knowledge that it will one hit this time, we take Altaria out at the second attempt with another Draining Kiss. Last is Druddigon, and we blast it with Bug Buzz to give us a victory over the third Elite Four member, and I'm pleased about the way that went. Okay, I've put Wickstrom off long enough, let us see what we can do here. The reason this one is probably going to be awful is that his first Pokemon, Klefki, has Torment and likes to use it. So, powering up at will and consistently using our strongest move is going to be an absolute impossible nightmare. Plus, his Probopass has Sturdy, which became really irritating after Gen 5, and a quad super effective Power Gem, so That'll also be horrific. Let's do this. I need to power up as much as I can versus Klefki. That Klefki has Prankster, so it goes first with Torment and we go for Quiver Dance. It's then a case of hit it with weak attacks because it does resist all our moves, hit it with a few Draining Kisses in between the Quiver Dancers so that we can mitigate some of the flash cannons and dazzling gleams it hits us with. It's not hard, it's just annoying because we've got to be careful. Attack and then buff, attack and then buff. Just keep repeating the cycle. But of course, the more we buff, the more likely we are to deal fatal damage. We get him to waste a full restore, which massively handy because the less heals he has going into the rest of the fight is going to be so much better for us. We get about 3 Quiver Dancers off before we finally end up dropping it and I deal the final blow with Draining Kiss to recover health. We hit Provo Pass with Bug Buzz and it survives thanks to Sturdy to hit Power Gem for about 100 points of HP. He heals it with his second and I hope his last full restore. We hit a Draining Kiss for about a third of its health and then on the next turn with Sturdy broken we take it down with Bug Buzz to defeat it. We should be good now. We go for another Quiver Dance versus Caesar and get tagged with Iron Head for big damage, but we can take it out then with Bug Buzz dropping it hard. That move won't help us versus Aegislash though, for sure. We go for yet another Quiver Dance just to be sure and get hit with another Iron Head, dropping us down to about a third of our health, but we blast it with Psychic and with it being in Blade form we drop it hard and we can defeat Wickstrom to get the chance to move onto the champion. Okay then, Diantha. I'm weirdly not as worried about this one as I was about Wickstrom. She has powerful Pokemon, but at the same time, as I said earlier, it feels like we have counters for most of them, or at least can hit them for heavily neutral damage. I can't help but feel like there might be a sting in the tail, but it is what it is. Of course, right at the very start versus Hawlucha, we go for a pair of Quiver Dancers, all while we get hit with 2 Poison Jabs. Given the way the mechanics work against you in this game, it does not take a genius to work out that we were going to get poisoned by one of them, and that duly happens on the first one. But I figure we should be fine. We will be able to mitigate it with the leftovers, and any heavier blows we can recover with Draining Kiss, which is what we do to Hawlucha to drop it hard. Tyrantrum is next, and a Head Smash would probably be fatal, but we take it out with Draining Kiss for the knockout. Next is Aurorus, and well, we go for a Bug Buzz to rip into it, and that takes it down. We are halfway there, and her next Pokemon is Goodra. Now, I don't know if we've done enough for our Bug Buzz to be fatal, but we end up critting the move to take it down in one, probably an important factor. Her 5th Pokemon is Gourgeist, and well, I'm not worried about this as we fire another Bug Buzz at it to wreck all its health and send it crashing down. Last is Diantha's Ace, the Mega Gardevoir, and it doesn't scare me even in the slightest. Bug Buzz might only be neutral damage thanks to that Fairy type, but we still absolutely shred her with the move, and as Gardevoir goes crashing down, we take the victory, we take the match, and just like that, we can enter the Hall of Fame to record Pat as the top 1% of Vivillon. Now, there is the pre-credits fight with AZ, but I'm not sure how much interest I really want to give it. My logic is, if you don't get experience for the fight, it does not count. A weird way of viewing things for sure, but I regret nothing. I mean, there's a nice scene where we are about the only Pokemon protagonist in history acknowledged for saving the region, while the police, the army and the gym leaders did pretty much nothing, but I digress. And don't even get me started on that fan theory that the Elite Four were complicit with Team Flare. Anyway, AZ has a Torkoal, a Sigilith and a Golurk, so not exactly great matchups for us, but Pat is pretty much stronger than them. AZ is weaker than the Elite Four, which, given he's had 3,000 years to train, is weird. We quiver dance versus Torkoal, but get nailed with Stone Edge. That annoys me, and we lash out with Psychic to drop the Fire Turtle hard. Next is Sigilif, and it is a simple matter to down it with a Bug Buzz and drop it just as hard. He wants to know what it's like to be an NPC trainer in a Pokemon game, and he's getting the true experience. Golurk comes out, survives our Bug Buzz and goes for Phantom Force. A bit annoying, but since we can't hit it now, I go for another Quiver Dance to waste the turn, and when it reappears after striking us, we finish it off with Draining Kiss. I don't actually know what happens if you lose this fight. I can't claim to have ever done it. I really hope it would let you continue with the game, but who's to say? Actually, the game's finished, isn't it? So probably not that. That said, it is a nice scene when the huge dude is reunited with his Floette after 3,000 years, and with that, it is time for us to move on to as the credits roll, because I feel like, once again, this has dragged on for way too long. I wonder, my challenge videos are definitely getting longer. I think my last Gen 1 challenge was like 40 minutes, and Gen 1 is a notoriously short video game. Maybe I'm talking too much. It's probably not doing me any favours, because normally recording the audio is my least favourite part of these whole challenge things. Mind you, I did ad-lib a lot more of this video. I do have a script, and normally I try not to go off it, because that's when I end up tripping over my tongue and having to start the sentence over, which makes it go on even longer and not ideal. In short, I suck at improvisation. Anyway, we are done. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. As always, if you did, please leave a like, comment away if you have the chance. All hail the mighty YouTube algorithm. Hail the YouTube algorithm. Hail the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe if you haven't already done so. This challenge really wasn't that bad. Next time though, I'm already dreading it. Join me as I return to Pokemon Fire Red and we see if I can beat it using just a single spinner rack. That one is likely going to be exceptionally painful. I'm already having cold sweats at the thought of the Brock fight. We'll have to see how it goes. I've not really got too much to add into the outro, so I'm just going to jump off here, folks. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. As always, this has been Once and Future Gamer. This has been Pokemon White with a single Vivillon. Take care, folks. Have a really good day. Thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Have a great day. I'm saying this again, aren't I? I will see you next time. Bye bye now. So long. See ya. Ta-ta.